we go find more buyers and we push them through sales funnels, and we even build out CRMs for them. So that's what we do. I'll share some of my story in a second, but I started the business in September, and it's just really snowballed, and it's kind of crazy how fast it's grown. When I was first kind of consulting and moving out, I actually looked here for office space, couldn't afford it, but could now. So maybe after my lease runs out, we'll move. What's up, John? You're always the
No worries.
Okay. So that's what I do. I want to keep this interactive and make it fun. In this hour, I will unload and answer any questions about anything that we do, any secrets, anything that you have. I will show you how to build funnels. We'll go through it. So let's use this hour wisely, but I certainly don't want to sit up here and just like have diarrhea of the mouth for the next hour.
I'm going to say one more thing. So we are going to end at 1. I should have said this ahead of time. We're going to end at 1. So and I don't know how long you can stay afterwards, but if people have other questions at 1, then we can stay afterwards. But that way, if you need to leave, it's not going to be awkward. Like, we'll be done at 1. So
cool. Awesome. Yeah, and guys, what we do at Apex works. So we're performance driven. We charge a setup fee. I'm not selling, but just explaining how it works. And then we charge our clients a percentage of the ad spend. So once the setup, the framework is there, we charge that percentage. So we have to win. Like, our ads have to work. We have to be able to track everything from soup to nuts. And so that was kind of when we founded Apex and started this business. That was the idea, because I had worked with a number of major agencies where, it was all about likes, awareness, impression, all this great stuff. I did it myself. We sponsored David Beckham, Cristiano Ronaldo. We paid millions of dollars at my old business, but we could never track any sort of ROI. And now I can go to businesses and offer value. So I get very excited about that. But I've got to go back and tell my story, because anytime I get a chance to tell my story, I want to tell it, because if anything, it just impacts me and makes me remember what it took to get here. So it's hard to look at that picture. That was 2016, August 11th, ICU with viral meningitis, and it was tough. It's my wife right here, Michelle. We had just had a newborn, our second newborn, and it was touch and go. 104-degree fever, lots of scans, spinal taps, which aren't fun, and almost died. Didn't, thank God, got out of that. And that was, the 7 days in ICU was hard, but the hard part was just beginning. And so I would never wish this on my worst enemy, but I'd go through it again to be where I am today. And so got out of the hospital, went from being a guy that could squat 500 plus pounds to barely being able to walk the stairs, carry my kids, things like that. And started battling with addiction to alcohol. And so go through this crazy battle, very frustrated with life, very, very pissed off. Like, I'm supposed to have this high profile VP of marketing, Iron Trap Fitness, all this stuff going on, but really my world was just absolutely crumbling. And I was pissed. I was pissed at God, everybody around me. My wife was amazing for sticking with me through all of that. And so December 3rd of that year, I gave up alcohol, and that has been one of the most powerful things that I've ever done. Most powerful things I've ever done. And it completely, going through this rewired my brain. So my point in telling you that is, when you look at trials, when you look at struggles, it's crazy when you're in it. It's like a whole quilt is being made, and you can only see the kind of black or brown, and you're like, this looks like shit. But honestly, when you see the whole picture, it's beautiful. And that's like how I'm seeing these things connected and interweaved together, which is just absolutely insane. It blows my mind. So worst thing, going to the best thing, almost died, and then I discovered my why, because finally she got to the end of a rope, kicked me out of the house, which she should have, and I had to earn my way back in. And thank God this little maniac, Nia, wasn't sleeping. And I was like, hey, I'll sleep on the couch, and I'll take care of the kid. That was she was the route back in. And the first night I did that, it was miserable, because she didn't sleep. And it was it was like punishment, but it was worth it. And so that whole situation rewired my brain, and I was like, what am I going to do with my life now? I don't know what to do. And I started diving into Facebook and started learning it at a very basic, granular, or not a granular level yet, but basic level, in Business Manager. I was learning Infusionsoft and the CRM side of things, kind of because I was forced to based off some things that had happened. We lost our support at Iron Tribe on that. And then we brought in a guy named Brad Bearden who really poured into me, started mentoring me, and I started running the stuff at a very granular level. And we spent $250K on marketing at Iron Tribe and ultimately brought in $1 million within 6 months. We could track to the penny, and I was like, dude, this works. I'm going to start consulting and offering this to brands. And I started doing this, and my business grew and grew and grew until where it is today. And it's absolutely like, it blows my mind to have a staff, have people working for me that are amazing, have the office space that I do. It actually is at the Tower building, so it overlooks all this. It's got this beautiful, amazing view, and this thing's just growing. And I just started sprinting. I worked over 4,000 hours last year, just humming, going at this thing. And it's so all of that is just to say, you know, when you see opportunity and you go for it, doors start opening, things start getting out of your way, God, universe, whatever, it all opens up. And that's definitely what I've seen in my life and pursuing and just taking that risk and absolutely going for it. And so I'm passionate about what I do because it works, and I get to go to brands and offer value. And a big piece of what we offer is the sales funnel side. And obviously that's why you guys are here. We want to talk through that and talk through the anatomy of the sales funnel. We want to talk through why sales funnels work and why they're so important. So so I'm going to talk, so with websites, I'll mention websites, and it might seem like I'm bad-mouthing websites. I'm not. Like, everybody needs a website. Websites are great. I have one. I built it in like 4 hours watching football, so it's there. It's like a business card, right? But I use funnels even for my own marketing, because I do my own marketing for my brand. And a funnel is exactly what it sounds like, right? You've got an ad, you're directing someone to a funnel as opposed to a website, because the marketing and the call to action is going to be very specific to what that action is, whatever it is in the ad you want them to do. And so that makes a big difference in the decision-making process. So prospects or potential buyers get paralyzed by decisions. And that is what a website causes, because when you go to a website, there's navigation, there's not going to be navigation on a funnel. There's all these decisions that can be made. You have multiple products, multiple calls to action, multiple services. With a funnel, you want to be very specific and very direct with that ad and where you're pushing them towards and the action that you want them to take. And you can really customize that journey that they travel on. So sales funnels are incredibly important to what we do because they're very specific and narrow things down for our buyers. And I just, let me make sure, I didn't even go through those slides, but that's okay. So other entrepreneurs in the room or startups, anything like that happen, like put these slides together like, I don't know, 10 minutes before coming over here. And, we're going to basically jump into my ClickFunnels. So I'm going to show you some examples, do some things like that, but this was just a comparison. So what do you guys think the percentage of traffic, mobile versus desktop, is these days?
85 to 90%.
85.
So, you guys know. So 85 to 90% of mobile or traffic is mobile. So this is, I just literally grabbed this example really, really quickly. Rainbow Paint off 31, they're a client. This is their website on mobile. Okay, so this is what you would land on if they ran ads to it. If you did one scroll, so one sort of paste down on your iPhone, this is what you'd see. This is the funnel that we're running with the ad. So as you can see here, there's a number to call, right? This is kind of small. It doesn't really size well. It doesn't look very clean. Like on desktop, it looks pretty good. But again, most of their traffic's coming through mobile, and we're driving. The call to action is very clear. You can see what we're driving them to. You've got benefits. First scroll, you can see that very clear. And so we've been able to drive, and this isn't a big client of mine or anything like that, but we've been able to drive sales through having these in-home window treatment consultations, getting someone in the home, sitting with them, evaluating their needs, and then they're able to make a $2,000 sale right on window treatments. And so it's been a very positive producing campaign because we know the ad, what we need to do for the ad side, and then driving them through the funnel, and then they've got the salesperson that follows up. So I just want to show you that example. I'm going to show you more, but what I'm going to move over to the whiteboard, and I'm I'm going to draw sort of the anatomy of the funnel, so this would be a good time to take notes.
Good.
I didn't even know you dressed like this. I used to work out at Iron Tribe, and so it was always gym clothes. All right, so
The board is a little wobbly.
So, again, keep in mind, 85% of traffic is mobile. I would recommend ClickFunnels to build funnels in. And part of telling you my story was to say a year ago, I was sitting right where you are. You've never touched any of this stuff or done any stuff. Now I'm running an ad agency, and it's all we did. So your excuses are invalid for really anything in life, but this because I can do it. And I could even connect to Wi-Fi at Starbucks before that. So, all right. So funnel, anatomy. When someone lands on the page, let's just say you're running a Facebook ad. We'll draw it like this. Could be a video or an image. Could be a carousel ad. You've got some different options there on the Facebook side. Something that's very important, well, there's a few factors that are very important, but one, if this is a video, if this is an image, that there is congruency, I don't know how to spell that word, between the image that they click on and the image that they land on. We see bounce rates go up significantly if that's not the same. They think they went somewhere different, whatever it is, you got a different person in the ad, you got a different image, different colors, anything like that. Same with the messaging, right? So whatever offer is in your ad needs to match this offer, call to action. If it doesn't, what do we say, right? Confusion causes parallelization. That would obviously cause confusion. So you want to have congruency of messaging, congruency of imagery, creative, things like that. It sounds like a no-brainer, but I swear, you go click on ads from big brands, and they have bigger budgets, so they can kind of mess with this, but on tighter budgets, stuff like this is very, very important. Any image, anything you put on here, under 1 megabyte. You want your image to look, you want your page to load quickly. So you want them to be small. The mistake that's made on websites and landing pages, you don't need these massive, beautiful, incredible images on your website and landing page. 72 DPI is all that image needs to be for online anyway. So you want to get that image below 1 megabyte. So what I do, in all images, but even the hero. So what I do, you can go on, well, that's on a Mac. So if you have a Mac, you can just go to Tools, Resize on the image, shrink it down until it's under 1 megabyte. There's tinypng.com, so you can use that site to shrink them down. That's another tool. So if you're looking at the page, as we go through the anatomy of the funnel, the next thing you want is obviously, we wrote offer here, but you really want your CTA, which will be more of the button. Whatever they're clicking, wherever they're going, you absolutely want that above the fold. And that might seem obvious, but again, part of the problem with some of the websites I see is you go and it's like the opt-in or the button or whatever they want you to do is at the bottom of the page. It's hidden, it's buried. You want up top, above the fold, very clear call to action there. And this could be, depends on what you're doing. It could be a button, it could be the actual opt-in form, whatever it is. Then you want to really sell, so this is important. Pain converts 80% of the time over pleasure. Okay, so people join the gym. They don't join the gym because they want to join the gym. They join the gym because they're fat and they don't like the way they look in the mirror, right? You go on vacation not because you're excited. Well, we like go on vacation. We get away. We escape from our kids. That's the pain, right? Like we need a break instead of going to the beach. So pain converts over pleasure. So what you really want to do is use trigger words here that are going to speak to those pain points and how you're going to change their life. So pain points are important, or really it's the inverse of those pain points. So with Iron Tribe, the example was like increase your confidence, right? Like that was part of losing weight, was increasing someone's confidence. But the pain is having lack of confidence. So that'd be the idea. Then you want to go with benefits. That's very important. So this could be, again, if you look at this example, I believe there's some here. These are okay, but benefits are different than features. You'll see a lot of bigger brands sell features, but Apple really moved to more of the benefits, the lifestyle side of marketing. So, anybody want to do a little back and forth with their business and talk about some of the benefits? It'd be fun. You're supposed to be interacting.
I do have a question about that top section, highlighting the pain point.
Yeah.
Is asking a question to have the consumer answer their own pain point better than telling them what their pain point probably is? Or should it be targeted?
I think asking a question is great. I might move them through the funnel and actually collect that information. Mm-hmm. So have them respond to the question. And the reason is because then you have a number of potential buyers or prospects do that, and you figure out what those words are that they're using. And all of this stuff, you got to test it. This all comes down, that, but speaking to everyone, you got to test what works and what doesn't. And a great way to get information is kind of like what you mentioned, put somebody through an application when they're actually typing in information. You get enough of that, you run an Excel spreadsheet, and you're like, oh, everybody's using this word, so you start using that in your copy.
I see, okay.
So, benefits, so that statements are important, right? What is this benefit going to do for them? Very, very compelling. This is sales copy. So Joe Polish says marketing is sales in print, right? And on a landing page or a funnel, you want to be you're selling. You're selling your services. You're pushing someone through this pipeline to sell whatever your product is, your event, right? Things like this is great for you. Event marketing. A lot of event marketing and performs very well if you have the audience there that you know they're going to be interested in it.
We've dabbled in it and we know enough to be dangerous.
Yeah, good.
Not
Good.
dangerous anymore.
Absolutely. Be more than dangerous.
Yeah.
Jay, were you about to ask something?
No.
Okay. All right. So moving through, and so another thing, if you notice, what's the biggest kind of difference between this and a website so far?
One option.
Well, one option.
Oh, and
It's focused.
It'll probably
CTA.
not be all one place. It'll probably take you to different places.
A website would, yeah. This is all about them, right? So far, we're using you a lot. We're not using we, right? That's the website is brand, right? It's talking more about the brand side and what we can do for you. But these are benefits. These are, you're going to feel, again, more confident, things like that. So you're speaking to that individual in the psychology. Marketing, there's a lot of psychology there, right? The emotional sort of triggers that you're trying to, use to move them through this process and help them make this decision. So very, very important. So when you get to kind of below the fold, after the benefits, you can go into more of your mission statement. So a little bit about you or your why. I told you guys my why. I don't know if I did, but it's Michelle and those two girls up there that I'm like, thank God they keep me around. So your why, and then from there you can move into really at this point it's content and social proof. Social proof wins the day. So the more video testimonials you can have, the more testimonials you can pull from your Yelp page, your Facebook page, anything like that. You want to just layer it with as much social proof as you absolutely can. Because in the online world, there's always sort of this skepticism where I don't really know you. But with this, you're kind of creating more of a referral-based lead or buyer, whatever your sort of intention is with your funnel. So that's kind of basic anatomy. I always start simple, right, as you test. So you start simple, and then I'll sort of build out more if what I do isn't working. So instead of trying to figure out, if you go big, then you have to figure out how to hone it in and what doesn't work. A great software you guys can use is called Crazy Egg. Another one's Hotjar. So that's heat mapping software.
What was the first one?
Crazy Egg? Crazy Egg. I have no idea where the name came from. So What we'll do for clients is we'll drop this strip of code on their funnel, and we'll be able to look at, well, a number of different things, but one of it is the heat mapping side. So if it's hot, white hot, you know that individuals are sticking and looking at those sections, right? If it's cold, which ultimately would be black, but it's really like more bluish, that means they're just flying by those sections. So they're not engaged. All right, so what you would say is either we don't need those sections, let's get rid of those sections, or let's do more of what they're engaging with. Right, so that's one. You can look at click patterns, so where they're clicking, where they're not clicking, right, which is very important. So if you had different buttons you wanted to test, so if you split test 2 pages, you had them running, ClickFunnels can do this for you. So if you're in ClickFunnels, and I'll show you the builder in a bit, you have page A, page B, and you could run heat mapping on both, and different button colors, do things like that to see what converts better. I will tell you this, and I work with big brands. I mean, one of my clients, they do $7 million top line a month in revenue, pretty decent sized business, supplement company, and the margins are huge because supplements don't cost anything to make. And so anyways, they don't have red or bright green in their brand book, but we use it for stuff like this. So red is like an urgency color. It works really, really well. I don't care if it's in your brand book or not. And then green means go, right? So green, bright green for buttons works really well. It doesn't matter if it's not part of your brand book or guidelines or whatever. I hate style guides. Oswald, the font Oswald converts better than any other font. I don't know why. I don't care why. Like, I use Oswald on all my funnels because it converts really, really well. They've done studies on it. I don't have to do the studies. Other people are smarter than me. So it doesn't matter that your font is whatever. Like, I would definitely go with that. So those are just a few tips and tricks. When you build out funnels, I know the dude that's coming next week is talking more of the Facebook side, like bringing individuals to the funnel. We can talk about that some. That's probably where you guys would get the most value. So the most important piece of any of this is the Facebook pixel. Who knows what a Facebook pixel is? So there's a good amount of people in here that does. It's a tracking code. So you get it by going into Business Manager and creating an ad account. Once you create your ad account, you go to Assets, and you go to Pixel, and it's going to create a pixel. Okay? Then you move, it'll ask you to set up your pixel, you click Set Up, and you'll pull that strip of code, and you just drop it on all these pages. Okay? And that's how you retarget individuals. That's how you pull data. So I went to, whenever I pitch clients, you can download Facebook Pixel Helper, add it to your Chrome browser. Not that unless you guys are going to get into this, but you can click and go look at websites, landing pages, and see if they have a pixel on their website. The good companies, most companies, well, not most companies, actually, you'd be surprised. Like Regions Bank just got one. I'm like, what are they doing? Like, you can basically, so with the pixel, if I was running Regions marketing, right, I would take everybody that goes to that regions.com and doesn't log in, right, and I would market to them, come sign up to be part of our bank. So I can tell the pixel, everybody logging in when he knows a customer, I can exclude their customers because I can upload a list of anybody that currently banks with them, and then I can use the pixel. I want to run ads to every single individual that came to this page who didn't log in or log a customer. Right? And for the longest time, apparently they weren't doing that. You want me to take that? So the pixel is important. You run data off of it. You can go into audiences, and you can basically populate based off of URLs visited because of that pixel and that tracking code. You can run all of your retargeting. So visits page 1, not page 2, for example. Most buyers are going to kick the tires, right? And so the lion's share of your purchases, opt-ins, whatever it is, they're not going to happen on that first click. They're going to happen to that person that visits page 1 from your ad, and then you set up an audience. You said, I want everybody that views this page, not this page, and you retarget them with a second ad. Okay, and then that's why when you go look at a product, or whatever it is, a pair of shoes, and you don't check out, like they know you didn't hit that thank you page or order confirmation page, and so they're hitting you, like, come buy your shoes, and you're more likely to buy. Because usually, like, if you're marketing and you know your buyer, your audience well enough to get them here, they're going to buy from someone. Like, they came here, they're going to buy from someone. So if you're not retargeting them, you're missing that selling. It's going to happen, right? So that's where you're going to miss. Again, I think it's like 80% of sales happens at the retargeting level. So it's very important. There's a lot of individuals out there who, well, women, because women are way smarter than men. I'll just admit it, but like as buyers, like they research, right? Like, so they're going to click an ad, they're going to look at it, then they're going to ask their friends, and they're going to research and like do their diligence. And then, you know, if you retarget them, you're in front of them, more than likely, you got a better chance of them making that purchase. And you can speak directly to their journey, and that's very important, right? It's like complete your checkout, right? Whenever you can speak directly to a journey, that obviously resonates with prospective buyers. Any questions there? No? Yes.
Just real quick, what does your retargeting ads copy look like?
Depends on the situation. So with a service-based business, a lot of times social proof-based. So I'll go pull real quotes, whether it's again from Facebook or things like that. And so it'd be like, see why people love Forge, right? And then I have a testimonial from Josh Rhodes, a testimonial from whoever else, like multiple testimonials saying this is why these people, and so that really helps move people back through. So they've already clicked, they've considered it, but like for some reason they're not quite there yet, so use that social proof to help pull them back. The other, you know, there's a lot of ways you can go with this. I mean, opportunity ads are great. So if you say you only have this many handbags or laptop bags, you know, and then you've got 3 remaining, right? So you create some sort of offer, you get this much off, and we've got this many remaining. And you can create, so the great thing is, like, with that journey, and with inclusions and exclusions of your audience, so including certain people and excluding certain people, you can exclude buyers. So once somebody buys that bag or takes that action, they get pulled out of seeing this ad. So you don't have to worry about them going, well, they're going to know I don't really have 2 left because they're going to keep seeing that ad, right? You can pull them out based off the actions that they took.
I have a question about
Yeah.
retargeting. So if you're a younger business, then your market that you can retarget is pretty small. You know, like, how do you have any type of rule about how often you run them, or how to not just annoy people?
You can't annoy people. So this day and age, Facebook is all about user experience. So they show ads based on how you interact with the ad. So if you blow by an ad, you'll never see it again, unless you've interacted with their site, you've clicked on the ad, you've looked at it, they know if you slow down, guess what? They have access to your microphone too, so have fun with that. They're listening to us right now, so it's Google, you give them permission. But anyways, so if they know if you just slow down, you slow down and scroll back up, that ad they'll show you again, right? But if somebody just does this, they're not going to see it. And so you can set up basically the conversion window. I typically use 1-day click because I'm looking for buyers that are going to move through pretty quickly. And when I do that, let's say I have an audience of 200,000 people and it's hitting 2,000 people a day. They're not going to show those, only people that interacted, they might show the ad to again, but based on how they engage with it. But if somebody went through it, like that ad's not getting in front of them again. Okay. And so for the 2,000 people, 200,000 audience size, if that's performing, right, like that's going to run, I don't know, I can't do math in marketing, but like it's got a long shelf life.
Yeah.
So with like the small audience thing, I guess like on the retargeting side, you know, typically someone's had a favorable experience because they've engaged. And so, you know, I don't really run into that because I'm marketing to business owners, things like that. I know they're seeing my ads. When you retarget, you're getting preferential treatment. So with Facebook and the algorithm, you push your ad out that's going into an auction. Okay, you're going against every other buyer that's trying to target that demographic, that person, that buyer that you're trying to get after. Facebook's only going to show, right, one type of ad to those buyer groups that you're targeting, right? So they're not going to, again, if you think about user experience, they're not going to show a bunch of different commercial office rental spaces, right, to a buyer. They're going to, based off, when they push that out to the auction, you've got a budget, the other companies you're going against have a budget, they're going to test both, they're going to use user interaction, so something called relevance scores based on 1 to 10, how users are interacting with the ad. You could actually win against somebody spending more money because you created a better experience. But with the retargeting side, people have had that kind of favorable experience, and so they continue to show that ad. You get preferential treatment over anybody that's going out with just an external ad to an external audience. Sometimes I speak a different language. Did that? Maybe some of it? All right. So what do you guys want to do next? You want to look at funnels? Do you want to?
I have a quick question.
Sure.
Do you work with anybody currently, or have you worked with anybody in the past, like highly regulated industries that, you know, where there's a lot of you can and cannot say and do these things, like Securities and Exchange and FINRA is very, there's just a lot of regulations on what we can and can't say. And, you know, what do you do to maneuver that, and, you know, how do you get creative to get around that?
Well, you put all the information on the page, you push your ad through for approval, and then you unhide it. So you can hide basically sections of the page if you wanted to go there. You don't have to, right? Like that might be a little too much of a gray area. But Facebook, when you send your ad out for approval, obviously they look at the ad and the copy. They look at the next page that anyone's clicking on. So you can hide sections of that page, get it approved, and then unhide those. Also, you know, so we work with, we have doctors, right? So there's a lot of compliance stuff there. We work with investing businesses. We work with industry. So being shored up on sort of terms, privacy policies, any compliance stuff, regulatory coding information that you have to have in that marketing, like we do that stuff too. So we make sure our bases are covered. Really, like, I mean, everything's regulated these days. Facebook doesn't allow, I work with a lot of nutrition companies and things like that, and so you can't make weight loss claims, anything specific to financial information, like, you know, you're going to make somebody $10,000 in a month, right? Multiple marketing companies have a hard time, things like that. So you certainly have to be careful. You can't show the before and afters. But anyways, so.
But Corbitt, can you, with the social examples that you were given where you're putting testimonials on there, can those people give claims of how much money they made or their success stories? Is that part of the regulation?
It's part of the regulation. Yeah, it's a great question though, because they don't know that they're real. I don't know that it would even matter that they're real, but it's the same thing with before and afters. You know, if we have before and afters on page or something like that, like they don't get photoshopped or authentic or whatever. You know, the time period you said for that person lost 20 pounds is the real time period.
Yeah.
And ultimately, you know, they're regulated, right? So you get it, like they can get in trouble for it. So let's look at.
I have a quick question.
Sure,
So,
please ask.
and this is something I've run into working with various clients where they expect their Facebook page to be super interactive, like people are going to, you know, engage in content. And what I found is that it's more like a web page where it's a destination. And of course, with the algorithm changes, your reporters say, oh, it's going to affect my page. You know, I haven't seen that much difference in, you know, unless it's a news publication. You know, I haven't seen a huge difference in clients having any less traction on their Facebook page because it wasn't there to begin with.
Yeah.
Are you finding that, you know, that's why funnels are important? Because you have to channel them into the certain aspect of that versus just, oh, go to my Facebook page and find all these choices.
No one does that anymore. Like, I agree, man.
Yeah.
Like, no one goes to Facebook pages. Like, I could run an ad from, you know, in, like a Facebook page that had nothing to do with like the actual ad. Like, no one even looks because that's where it says the ad's coming from, right? So I could, I would never do this, but I could have like client A, that's one product, and then run an ad for client B through, you know, like no one looks at that. Like, very rarely. It's kind of crazy, actually. So yeah, I think that's a great question. Yeah, people aren't your Facebook page. I'm sorry. What's better, and you know this, like private group. things like that. If you get a group going, get some engagement, position yourself as authority, do some things like that's going to get more interaction.
Yeah, I did notice Facebook actually started suggesting, hey, if you want to start a group to go along with your page.
Yeah.
To kind of placate the angry mobs out there.
That's right. And you can just it just brings them all into the group now,
Yeah.
right? Like, you don't even have to ask permission. Somebody invites you to a group, you're like part of that group. So you say, I don't want to be part of this group. That's a little weird, but that's how it's set up now. But yeah, with the group page, I mean, you see these groups that get up to all these sort of 50, 60,000 people. Now the big thing is like the person that owns that group, they can get sponsorships, right? So they can bring brands in because they know that they can get in front of this audience, and they know who this audience is, and you can run data off of it. The kid that works for me, they would, his name's Cody, he's really, really sharp, so he would run, I mean, the things you do with Facebook is amazing, but they would create these pages to win free vacations. And they would get them up to 500,000, 600,000, a million followers, and then they just give them a VRBO for $500 for a weekend in Destin, right? It wasn't a super expensive deal, and then they'd have this massive audience, mostly women, that then they'd sell like Shopify things to, and like all sorts of stuff, so they could run the data on that audience from using this thing. So like vacation was nothing compared to what they could do with that actual data. So there's something a lot I don't know, I'm trying to think if this one was, who's seen the Invisalign ads? People in this room, yep. So you guys have seen them. This is the desktop version. So this is, again, when you go to Birmingham Orthodontics, awesome client. They've got a great website. Again, I'm not knocking websites, but like the website wouldn't be like if you were running an Invisalign ad, even if you ran to the Invisalign page, like it's going to be super confusing as opposed to going to a funnel. So we have this little interactive quiz here that somebody can take, and that's just to really create engagement. There's information about the offer. This is a real offer, actually. So like 19 is not an arbitrary number. If I was picking an arbitrary number, it'd be smaller, probably like 5, 7, something like that. But they had 19 of these $500 discounted Invisalign deals, and so that's, I mean, you can see, again, social proof, before and after, real Invisalign patients there. You've got the more social proof here, about, and we're repeating that offer, so that's very important. I didn't mention that. Repeat that multiple times. 3, at least on a desktop. Mobile's going to be longer, so probably 4 times. Things like this, like extremely limited time offer, those words convert. Green button. They have green as part of their color scheme, but I don't think it's this one. I actually think it's that brighter for the call to action there. So that pushes through. They open this up, and this actually, this form here syncs with their Infusionsoft. So Infusionsoft is the CRM that we use. So if you're a service-based business, that's a great CRM. There's other great ones out there. But someone can come through, fill out this information, select the location, select the preferred date, best time to call them, any additional information, submit this. It goes to their staff. And then we have this whole pipeline that the staff goes to, and it says, basically a form, and they call, the person has their information on it, and said, either restricted, try to sign up for a consultation, they can put all that information in, or they can say left voicemail 1, it'll automate an email to them, day 2, they can go left voicemail 2, it'll automate another email saying, hey, I just try to give you another call, I want to get in touch with you, things like that. And so part of that is just shoring up the funnel and the pipeline, because I think the stat, and this is great for like you guys, is buying happens after 5 calls. Most people give up at like 3, right? After 5 calls, that's when the buying actually happens. So this creates that follow-up process to get you there.
I guess that's lead generation, and then you have all the fields or required fields.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that's to prevent junk leads from
That's right.
popping up in the CRM.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So he was just mentioning junk leads. So name and email would be like the lowest sort of, this is not going to be a great lead. They're very, very cold. Adding phone number will certainly weed out individuals. The more decisions that you ask somebody to make will help ensure that you get better leads, right? So this isn't an application. This is just moving straight to a scheduler to grab this free offer and request your appointment. But a great process for a lot of businesses in here would be opt-in, step one. They move to a second page, and then that second page is an application, right? So they're applying to be your client or to work with you potentially, whatever it is. So you're creating more of a level of exclusivity, and then you're asking questions. You're asking questions based off those pain points and things that we've talked about. You're having them actually put real answers in that you can use when you call them to sell them, right? Because part of selling is opening the wound, pouring some salt into it, and then providing a solution. And so now, because of the application, that gives you the ammunition to do it. And you get enough of those, you take that, you look at those, again, words that are being repeated over and over, and you're able to use that to craft actual copy in your ads. You get better.
So I have another question.
Yeah, please.
So just to summarize, you do a landing page, the CTA is a easy opt-in, and then after they opt in, it goes to another page with a,
Yeah, so like for you,
at one time, and they've clicked on the CTA, they get the easy opt-in, and then they get the further survey.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, so like for you, I would have, we only have 1 or 2 office spaces left or whatever,
Yeah. Mhm.
right? Push them through to opt-in, to an opt-in, so you have the call to action. So to be able to qualify, right, click here, they're gonna put their email, then they'll move to the application. And then it's please fill out our application to be considered for one of these office spaces. And then they're gonna answer a few questions in that application saying, they're basically telling you why they deserve this office or want this office or whatever, you know. And so then they submit that, and then you call them, eat while your food's hot.
Yeah.
Right? So. Are you guys getting value? Yeah? Okay, good.
So then you track all of that through Infusionsoft.
Yes.
That's how you track
Yeah.
your funnel,
Yeah,
where
you
the
have to,
people
on
are.
the service-based business, you have to.
Yeah.
So what I don't, I work with, most of my businesses are service-based, but the reason I don't love it is because I can only control ROAS, return on ad spend, so far, right? With an e-commerce, online retail, I control it all the way through the funnel to buying actually happening, right? Because I can control the marketing. But with service-based, there's basically going to be sales KPIs that come in. So you mentioned that, and so with performance-based marketing, that's really important. So this is how, I know I'm just kind of going all over the place, but we got an hour, so let's just go for it. So, if you so let's just stay with the service-based business, and let's start with. So I'm going to work backwards, and you've basically got your FEO, which would just be your sales price, your front-end offer. So let me keep the math really, really simple. Let's say you're selling something, you're going to meet and talk to that person, and you're selling something that's $100, okay? If you wanted a 2-to-1 ROI, what would your cost per sale be? That's not a trick question.
$50.
$50, that's right. So cost per sale would be $50. Again, we're thinking service-based business, so you're actually meeting with this individual to sell whatever this $100 thing is. Cost per consult attended is 42.5% of this, so it's $42.50. Then you have cost per consult scheduled. That's about 38%, so let's call that $38. Let's not call it that. It is that. And then you have, if we did an application, that would be percentages. I think this is something like 15%, so $15. And then this would be something like 5, and this would be cents. This would be like 50 cents. I'll have to check. I'll give you guys, before we leave today, I'll give you guys the percentage on these. But when I look at what I can control, ROAS, return on ad spend, I can control it here. And so if $15 is my goal and I'm running ads, I can look at my cost per click, my cost per lead, and my cost per application. And I know that if I'm getting applications for $15, that I'm good. And I should be, from a marketing spend perspective, I should be in the black, right? If I'm above this, then that means something's wrong, right? And so you can refine all the way through. If this is high, that means my application page isn't doing it for me. I got to test different application pages. My leads are high, that means when people are clicking on my page, they're not liking what they're seeing. If my CPC is high, cost per click, right, whatever's in the ad isn't working. The image, the video, copy, etc. Right? So I can refine these and make this work. Now, if this was a retail funnel, right, instead of cost per consult schedule, this could be add to cart. This would be initiate, I can't spell initiate, I can't spell checkout. Right? And then that would be your sell. So I can refine it all the way through and sell all the way through this pipeline. I get to do the sales and control it all the way. But anyway, so this would be, service-based. You've got marketing, KPI, and you've got sales. KPI. That's how you refine. And then you can hold your salespeople accountable too. And you know the value of the one body sitting in the chair in front of you.
Do you feel like with this, you're more focused on, or is it better to be more focused on selling an individual product or creating a customer?
That's a great question. Go a little further with that.
So as far as, are you more concerned about, okay, get them to buy this product one time, or are we trying to create a customer? Do you see more value in the value proposition of, hey, client A, we're not just selling this one-time membership, we're creating a customer that's going to return and buy more stuff and upsell and all that.
Yeah, I would definitely, that's the way to go. Getting people to buy in on that is very hard though, right? But like LTV, lifetime value of the customer, that's where it's at, right? You want repeat buyers. If you can sell recurring revenue, like get 5 events, right? Or whatever it is, like an event a month where they're, buying multiple so they get a discount, but over time, and that can create some more of that recurring revenue stream. And so, yeah, I would rather make a sale and have them buy something for $5 than create a customer, like you said, follow up with them, nurture them, move them further along, as opposed to a higher level ticket value and not convert.
So how do you track people who? How do you do it in your funnel? Like people who have come to the Facebook, have gotten the Facebook ad, have seen it, they're not yet in your CRM. What do you do to I guess you just nurture them through retargeting and hope they get in. How do you track?
Yeah,
do you
Facebook
track
doesn't
them?
share user information
Okay.
at any level. So if they don't opt in, other than retargeting and that pixel audience, so I'll just show you guys so Strength and Surrender is a client. It's really weird. They have an office in London and in Australia, but they're in Bali right now. So the whole time change and trying to set up meetings is absolutely insane. But they sell these $5,000 yoga retreats. So we're doing exactly what I just talked about, where someone's coming through, they're filling out an application to tell their salespeople why they should go to this sales retreat, this yoga retreat. It's going to be the sales retreat.
Did you say $5,000 yogurt retreat?
I did.
Yoga.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm glad I asked.
It makes more sense now, right?
Real yogurt lovers out
Really?
there.
That's amazing yogurt.
And so
That was the youth of yoga.
we actually, so if you look, costs per, they call them a transformational week, so it's TW, cost per transformational week funnel application. If you look at overall costs, I'm at 125.31. For a 5-to-1 ROI, 5-to-1, we need to be at 150, right? So we're crushing that. And so this is how I track and I look at our overall spend, right? I can look at reach and impressions, so I know in each one the audience size, so I can see how long, which there's about 2 million people, so we've got a long time that I can go through this audience, how many we've reached, I can look at daily reach, and what I'm hitting daily and average that to say, okay, this campaign can last this long, right? We've got videos running, so I'm actually looking at how they're engaging. Believe it or not, all these are pretty good. Facebook calls a video view like 3 seconds, so I can look at CTR, it's all right. You can see my clicks here, cost per click, how many leads we've gotten, cost per lead, and then how many applications we've gotten. And again, ultimately, like this click-through rate, it's not great, it's okay. Cost per lead, like the other costs are good, but ultimately, like my ROAS is right here, right? So if this number is where it needs to be, I don't care about the rest of it, right? Again, like if I'm selling, ultimately I'm getting here, and my cost per click is higher, cost per lead, we're okay. Like it's where your return is at. So that number needs to be where you want it. The other ones, they're off. Now, if you're not there, then you got to start fixing things, figuring that out. But I have this dashboard, so basically this is where I'm looking at everything. And there's your targeting running, all of that, so you can see.
And you know that anybody who's in the 125, the application, they're now in your CRM.
Yeah. So they're in it at the lead level,
Yeah.
getting pushed to complete the application as well.
Right.
Yeah. What else?
We've got 5 minutes.
We've got 5 minutes.
So
It's
hold
fast.
it, with Apex Current,
Yeah.
your company,
Yeah.
it all starts with the pixel, right? Like that's where you come in.
Yeah, it starts with the buyer and subscriber lists.
So you're not driving people to websites or whatnot, but once they've gone there, or once you have their pixel information, that's where
Yep.
Apex Current steps in the market.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we are able to pull data. They already have a pixel. It's great. Some companies have them. They're not using them, but they've been collecting data. They just didn't know it. So we can start using that to retarget. So with like the Invisalign thing, we're running to external audiences, but then I also have an ad running to anyone who's gone to Birmingham Orthodontics and looked at Invisalign who's not a current buyer. Right? Those people were buying, right? Because they went and looked and engaged, and now they're going to hit with an ad for this offer.
Do you guys use custom and lookalike audiences for anything?
Everything. I mean, you look at this client. So a custom audience could be an audience that you uploaded, right? So you've grabbed a list of their subscribers, of their buyers, you've uploaded that list into Facebook. It also could be based off specific web traffic or URLs visited or not visited, if the pixel's there. So there can be either or and or sort of scenarios. Lookalike audiences are audiences that you take that list of buyers or subscribers or website visits, and it's got to be over 100, but I would say get good data, 300, 1,000's great, and you tell Facebook, I want you to go find everyone who looks like this audience, but is just 1% different. So you obviously can't, if there's 100% be the same list, right? So they use behaviors, interests, political beliefs, religious beliefs, like anything you can think of to create this soup, and they find people that look just like your buyer. And you can do 1 to 2%, 2 to 5%, all the way to 10%. So like for local, which I'm guessing a lot of you guys are, I would take your buyer subscriber list, I would run a 10% lookalike off of it. Okay? I would use a 10% lookalike. The reason is you're going to get, it runs it on a national audience, at Birmingham level or state level, run a national audience, and then take that lookalike 10% and use your targeting. I would keep a local audience anywhere from 200 to 400,000 people. So you can put some extra little parameters, interests or behavior sort of parameters. So real estate, I can't remember if you said which type, but you can put likely to move. So there's behavior. They know based off what they're doing that this person's likely to move. So there's a lot of ways you can skin the cat, but it's fun. I like it. Anything else?
Have you worked with any influencer marketing?
Have. No. Well, yeah. So, yes, you can. It's a supplement company out of Miami. Their CEO is a celebrity. He's in. They're all. They go to their market is the Latin market here, based in the U.S. So there's a Spanish-speaking audience, but we'll use videos of him to build credibility. So as somebody kind of does this and fails, we'll start hitting them with videos of him, right, where he can move them through. Yeah. You guys have been awesome. Thank you so much. smart